Hey guys, and welcome to another fan fiction. In this episode of Star Wars Theory, we're going to dive into the what-if scenario of Anakin eventually realizing that Palpatine lied about teaching him to learn the powers of the dark side, and ultimately saving Padme. He realizes it was his manipulation on Anakin to take him under his wing so that his dark dream of ruling the Empire would be fabricated. The story takes place just after Padme's death, a few seconds before the scene where Vader screams, when Sidious tells him,
"It seems in your anger, you killed her."
Which we all know isn't true at all. It was his change to the dark side that Palpatine catalyzed, which caused Padme to no longer want to live. Right after that line, Vader flicks like a switch on his new master, realizing what had been done cannot be changed. And with that, our story begins.
"It seems in your anger, you killed her."
As Vader dramatically was straightened on the iron medical bed, he felt as if someone had flicked a switch within his head. He turned on Obi-Wan. He slaughtered innocent Jedi at the temple. He left the Jedi Order, assisted in killing Master Windu, and lost the love of his life and his children for what he knows along with it. He was the Emperor's protege since day one when he first visited Naboo. All this time, Sidious had contorted his mind with prodding notions to turn to the dark side, to go against his masters, and to ultimately end up as half man, half machine, with the galaxy completely changed right before his eyes.
You.
Yes, Lord Vader.
You killed her. You did this to me. You promised me the ability to keep her from death. She's gone. My children, Obi-Wan, all the younglings. You knew I was suffering and confused. You controlled me like your puppet.
Anakin could feel the black rage consuming him. The dark side was the most prominent within him now that it had ever been. When fighting Obi-Wan, the sliver of light residing within him had held him back, but for the Emperor. Now that he had seen the evil within, no longer blinded by false lies to save Padme or corruption of the galaxy, he broke free of his hand and foot restraints. Like Frankenstein's monster, he stepped onto his robotic feet, staggering for the first and last time. The Emperor approached him, weary but collected.
Your anger alone killed Padme. When you used the dark side to choke her out of your anger, I could feel it when I arrived to Mustafar and saved you.
Don't patronize me,
said Vader as he used his mechanical arm to rip off his new mask. Burned, bleeding, and completely disfigured, he bent over like a big tree with heavy leaves to face the short Emperor, meeting his gaze nose to nose.
Look at me! Look at what you've done to me! You used my hatred and puppeteered it to your doings! I will not be controlled! Not by the Jedi, not by Obi-Wan, and not by you!
My lord, you are confused and in shock. You must rest. Here, let me take you to your quarters, my young apprentice.
Apprentice? Who do you think you are? I could end you if I wanted to. I am the most powerful being in the galaxy, and you will not control me any longer. I was too weak to see your deeds, but now I have nothing. Ever since you changed me, promised me that I could turn things the way I wanted.
Sidious felt like a dog backed into a corner. He did not know what to do. Was he about to fight his new apprentice? He knew his powers and abilities, he always did, and that's why he worked so hard to bend Anakin to his will. Because if he was there to rise as a Jedi Master, the Emperor would either be in a constant hiding or dead. Anakin's eyes, more bloodshot than the Emperor's ruby-red saber, the yellow of his iris engulfed with blood, surrounded by veins as he began to straighten his back, like a grown man to a child.
Droids, sedate Lord Vader. Immediately,
ordered Sidious, hoping that Anakin just needed to rest in order to come to his senses. Anakin frowned and closed his eyes. With an instant, the droids looked like compact soda cans, rolling around on the floor, becoming motionless. The Emperor raised his hands like he had against Master Windu, about to strike Anakin with numbing force lightning, just strong enough to cause him to pass out. The lightning hit Vader in the chest and crawled all over his body, engulfing him like purple spiders, making his wounds even more agonizing, reopening his blisters from the lava. Anakin screamed, not with pain but with rage. He overcame the pain and paralyzation of the Emperor's attack as he outstretched his right hand and firmly grasped the Emperor's neck, squeezing as hard as he could. This was it. This was the moment he was destined for. He could feel it. The prophecy was not wrong. He could bring balance to the Force, and he will, eventually. The Emperor's lightning stopped, his eyes beginning to roll to the back of his head as Vader strangled the dark life out of him. Anakin's face looked like that of a boy who had just gotten his favorite present on Christmas, smirking with the most sinister of smiles one could ever see, his cracked lips ripping with each inch of teeth he showed. Blood running down his mouth and dripping off his chin, he continued to strangle the Emperor as he felt himself leave the floor. He wondered why he was levitating. His grasp lightened beyond his control as he was thrust into the iron wall some feet behind him, his head leaving a large dent where the flat wall had been. It was a good thing the backside of his helmet was still on, protecting his skull. Anakin, in a daze, opened his eyes to see the Emperor floating in the room, cloaked and hooded like a dark-shadowed wizard, eyes spouting electricity as his hands crawled with static.
You are foolish to think you are so powerful to control. Then again, your impatience for greatness was what made it so easy to control you. It was my plan all along to have you kill Padme. I knew only then would you be eternally loyal to me. Now look at you, reduced to my minion as I control your strings. Do you miss her? I'm sure your child died along with her.
Daggers, saws, and scalpels all hit the wall behind the Emperor, sticking deep into the stone pillar. Anakin used the Force to throw the very tools the droids used on him through the Emperor's face. Blinded, bleeding from his eyes, cheeks, and chin, the Emperor fell to the floor, howling in pain. He reached into his cloak, grabbing his intercom system.
All medical units, assist me on the lower floors.
Lower floors?
Anakin thought to himself.
We were on the top floor of whatever this place was. What is he doing?
As he watched in amazement, the Emperor spread his hands on the floor and sent the most powerful Force lightning throughout the ground, paralyzing him from being able to move, only to stare at what was happening before him. The ground around the Emperor cracked and melted. One final surge and Sidious was gone. A giant hole in the floor and no signs of the Emperor. Anakin could now move and look into the hole, only to see nothing but darkness. He dropped to his cybernetic knees with a thud, his cape surrounding him like the very darkness he had manifested his new life to be. His hands dragging along his face, he screamed into the empty room, disintegrating everything in sight. He knew he had to find the Emperor and finish this once and for all. He gathered himself, stood as he looked amongst the fiery blaze he had just created. Grabbing the face of his helmet, he put it back on with a mechanical sealing noise locking in his fate. He left the flaming room, breathing heavily into the night. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. I really enjoyed writing and performing this one in particular. The way my channel is going, I see myself throwing a contest at least once a month. For all the newcomers here, stay tuned for the end of September, where I'll unveil the video that outlines the simple rules for the contest for your chance to enter and win a new Black Series lightsaber, just as a token of appreciation for all of you. The video will also be tied in with a fan film that took me a total of 16 hours to film on different sets, and over 2 weeks of editing, which is still being done in progress right now as we speak. Again, this is all possible only because of you all, and without you, this wouldn't be happening. I owe it all to my fellow Jedi and Sith friends on here. I hope you all have a great rest of your day or night, wherever you are watching this, and please remember, no matter how hard life gets, think deep and judge well, and as always,
The Force will be with you.